For the Life Safety Award, we have the opportunity to recognize a dispatcher who, as most of you know, have incredibly important jobs. They are the reassuring voice on the phone when you call in during an emergency. They relay emergency information. They send appropriate resources. They must be a good listener, a good communicator, have the ability to multitask. We have more than 550,000 calls for service per year, from those that are very simple to those that are very, very complex. There are more than 1 million pushes of the microphone out of communications in a given year. So you can imagine how busy it can get. Civilian Deputy Dispatcher Richard Swink used all of those skills on March 16, 2013, when he answered a call placed by an ultralight pilot who was pinned upside down in his plane in Immokalee. First, I'm happy to tell you that the pilot at the other end of that call, Tony Raddelay, is here with us this morning. And he's going to get an opportunity to thank Dispatcher Swink personally at the end of the ceremony. For nearly 2 hours, Deputy Swink was on the phone with Mr. Raddelay, trying to guide emergency responders to him. Among Deputy Swink's goal, to keep Mr. Raddelay awake, because he knew that if the pilot lost consciousness, it would be infinitely more difficult to find him in the woods. Deputy Swink used a satellite map on his computer and directed emergency responders and helicopters, as well as all-terrain vehicles, through acres of thick brush and trees. The search became a game of hot and cold, using the sounds of CCSO and EMS helicopters to try and pinpoint the exact location. When it appeared rescuers were getting closer, Deputy Swink conferenced in the deputies on the ground. The deputy was able to judge Mr. Raddelay's location by the sound of the helicopters coming from the phone. Eventually, the deputies got closer, and they could hear Mr. Raddelay's cry for help. Rescuers found him upside down in his plane in a tree approximately 20 feet above the ground. When the call was over, more than a dozen dispatchers and radio operators in the communications center gave Deputy Swink a standing ovation for the time he spent. For Deputy Swink's professional and dedication to his countless hours and the successful rescue of Mr. Raddelay, we award him today the Life Safety Award. But first, I'd like to ask Mr. Raddelay to come up because he wants to thank personally Deputy Swink.
Good morning. When I heard that Richard was receiving an award and that I was asked if I could make it here, I don't think wild horses could keep me away from here. I wanted to mention specifically that, to me, Richard is the most deserving person to receive this award because I am living proof of what he did. His dedication and his efforts kept me awake for almost 2 hours and allowed him to direct the first responders to my location. I can equivocally tell you, if it wasn't for him, I would still be there. Okay, so I personally wanted to congratulate you for receiving this award. From my family and myself, thank you from the bottom of our heart. Okay.
I just want to say I'm greatly honored and humbled to receive an award like this. I didn't quite know what I was getting into this morning. My first thought when I came into the room was I should have worn a tie. But beyond all that, more grateful for this award. I'm even more grateful that Tony's still with us here today. And it could have been anybody else who answered the phone. The result would have been the same. I just happened to pick up that day.
Don't worry about the tie. Usually nobody sees you on the other end of the phone.
Well, I think all of us get up every day and shower up as though we are superheroes to go into our chosen endeavors and do the things we do. It's humbling to be in the presence of real everyday heroes, isn't it? Let's thank them one more time.